Vivian Torres had perfected the art of being nobody. In a city like Chicago, that was survival. She worked the night shift at St. Mary's Hospital, cleaning floors, emptying trash, wiping down surfaces that doctors and nurses never noticed until they were dirty. She was 32 years old, and she had learned a long time ago that invisible women don't get hurt. Her apartment was a studio on the south side. Rent was cheap because the building had bed bugs and the landlord didn't fix anything. But it was hers. 400 square feet of safety. Every morning at 6 a.m., she walked home from the hospital. Same route, same pace. Head down, earbuds in but no music playing. Just the illusion of being unavailable. Most people didn't look at women like Vivian. She wasn't ugly. She wasn't beautiful. She was plain in a way that made people's eyes slide right past her. And that was exactly how she wanted it. But there was one man who looked. She didn't know his name yet. She didn't know what he did. She only knew that every Tuesday and Thursday morning, when she walked past the corner of Ashland and Division, there was a black car parked across the street. Always the same car. Always the same spot. And always the same man standing beside it. He was tall. Dark hair. Expensive suit. The kind of man who didn't belong in this neighborhood at 6 a.m. The first time she saw him, she assumed he was waiting for someone. The second time, she thought it was a coincidence. By the 10th time, she knew better. He was watching her. Not in the way men usually watched women. There was no smile. No attempt to talk. No catcalling or following. He just looked. Like he was memorizing her. It made her skin crawl. But it also made her curious. And that was dangerous. One Thursday morning, she decided to take a different route home. She turned left instead of right. Walked 3 extra blocks. Took the long way around. When she finally reached her building, she glanced back. The black car was parked half a block away. Her heart slammed into her ribs. He had followed her. She ran inside, locked the door, pressed her back against it, and tried to breathe. Who is he? What does he want? She didn't sleep that day. Vivian stopped walking past Ashland and Division. She changed her route entirely. Left the hospital through the side exit. Took the bus for 2 stops, then walked the rest of the way. It added 20 minutes to her commute. But it was worth it. For 3 days, she didn't see the black car. She told herself she was being paranoid. Then on the 4th day, she came home to find her apartment door unlocked. She never left it unlocked. Her hands shook as she pushed it open. Nothing was missing. Nothing was broken. But someone had been inside. On her kitchen counter, there was a small white box. No note. No card. Just the box. She stared at it for a long time before opening it. Inside was a brand new deadbolt lock. Top of the line. The kind that cost more than her weekly paycheck. And underneath it, a single business card. No name. No company. Just a phone number. Handwritten on the back in clean, sharp letters. Your current lock is broken. Use this one. Vivian's stomach twisted. He had been in her apartment. He knew where she lived. And he was telling her, politely, disturbingly, that he could get in whenever he wanted. She didn't call the number. She didn't install the lock. She went to work that night like nothing had happened. But when her shift ended, she didn't go home. She sat in the hospital cafeteria until the sun came up, drinking bad coffee, staring at the business card. At 7 a.m., her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. But something made her. Hello. The voice on the other end was low, calm, and familiar in a way that made her skin prickle. You didn't install the lock. She froze. I don't know who you are, she said quietly. But you need to leave me alone. There was a pause. I can't do that. Why not? Another pause. Longer this time. Because you're not safe. And then he hung up. His name was Bryan Kross. Vivian didn't learn this from him. She learned it from a nurse at the hospital named Maria, who saw her staring at the business card during a break. Holy shit, Maria whispered. Where did you get that? Someone left it for me. Why? Maria looked around like she was checking for cameras. That's Bryan Kross's number. Vivian blinked. Who? Maria stared at her like she'd just asked who the president was. You seriously don't know? No. Maria leaned in close. He runs the South Side. And I don't mean a business. I mean everything. Drugs, guns, protection, you name it. The cops won't touch him. The politicians work for him. If Bryan Kross wants something, he gets it. Vivian's throat went dry. Why would someone like that care about me? Maria shook her head slowly. I have no idea. But if I were you, I'd do exactly what he says. That night, Vivian installed the lock. Not because she trusted him, but because she didn't trust anyone else. 2 days later, she saw him again. Not in a car this time. He was standing outside the hospital, waiting by the employee exit. She stopped in the doorway. He didn't move, didn't smile, just looked at her the way he always did, like she was the only person in the world. "You installed the lock," he said. It wasn't a question. "How do you know?" "I know everything about you, Vivian." Her name sounded different when he said it. Softer. Like it mattered. "What do you want from me?" He stepped closer. Not threatening. Just present. "Nothing you're not ready to give." "That's not an answer." "I know." They stood in silence for a moment. And then he did something she didn't expect. He handed her an envelope. "What is this?" "Your building has a gas leak. 3rd floor. It's going to cause a fire in about 6 hours if it's not fixed. I've already sent someone to handle it, but you should stay somewhere else tonight." She opened the envelope. Inside was a key card to a hotel. "A nice one. I'm not going to a hotel you paid for." "Then stay with a friend." "I don't have friends." His expression didn't change, but something flickered in his eyes. Sadness, maybe. Or recognition. "Then use the hotel," he said quietly. "I won't be there. I won't bother you. But you'll be safe." "Why do you care if I'm safe?" He looked at her for a long time. "Because no one else does." And then he walked away. Vivian didn't go to the hotel. She went home. She told herself Bryan Kross was lying, playing some kind of twisted game. But at 2 a.m., the fire alarm went off. Smoke poured into the hallway, thick and black. She grabbed her jacket and ran. By the time she made it outside, the 3rd floor was engulfed. Firefighters arrived. Cops. Ambulances. Vivian stood on the sidewalk in her pajamas and watched her building burn. Everything she owned was inside. Not that it was much, but it was hers. She didn't cry. She just stood there. And then a hand touched her shoulder. She turned. Bryan Kross was standing beside her. Suit perfect. Expression unreadable. "I told you to leave," he said. "I didn't believe you." "I know." He draped his coat over her shoulders. It was warm, and it smelled like expensive cologne and something darker. Leather, maybe. Or smoke. "Come with me." "Where?" "Somewhere safe." "I don't even know you." "You know enough." She looked up at him. Really looked. He was handsome in a brutal kind of way. Sharp jaw. Dark eyes that didn't give anything away. A scar along his temple that suggested violence was not new to him. But there was something else too. Something tired. "What do you want from me?" she whispered. "I already told you. Nothing you're not ready to give." "That's not good enough." He stepped closer. Close enough that she could feel the heat coming off him. "You want the truth?" "Yes." "I don't know yet." It was the most honest thing anyone had ever said to her. And for some reason, that made her trust him. Just a little. "Okay," she said. "Okay. I'll come with you. But just for tonight." He nodded once. Just for tonight. Bryan's car was nothing like Vivian expected. It wasn't flashy. It was clean. Black. Quiet. The driver didn't speak. Bryan sat beside her in the back seat. Not touching. Not talking. Just present. She wanted to ask 100 questions. But she didn't. Silence felt safer. They pulled up to a building downtown. Glass and steel. The kind of place Vivian had only seen in movies. The elevator required a key card. Bryan used his. They went up, and up, and up. When the doors opened, Vivian stepped into the most beautiful apartment she'd ever seen. Floor-to-ceiling windows. City lights stretched out like stars. Furniture that looked like art. "You live here?" she asked. "Sometimes." "What does that mean?" "It means I have a lot of places. This one is the safest." He led her through the apartment. Showed her a guest room. Private bathroom. A closet full of clothes that looked brand new. "Those are for you," he said. "Why do you have women's clothes?" "I don't. I had them delivered 2 hours ago." She stared at him. "You knew I'd say yes." "No. I hoped." He turned to leave. "Wait." He stopped. "Why are you doing this?" He didn't turn around. "Because I've been watching you for 6 months, Vivian. And in that time, I haven't seen a single person check if you made it home safe. I haven't seen anyone ask if you're okay. I haven't seen you smile once." His voice was quiet, almost broken. "And I know what that's like." Then he left. And Vivian stood in the middle of a stranger's penthouse, wearing his coat, and wondered if she'd just made the worst decision of her life. Or the best. Vivian didn't sleep. She sat on the edge of the bed and stared at the city. At some point, The sun started to rise. There was a knock on the door. "Come in." Bryan stepped inside. He'd changed. No suit jacket now. Just a white dress shirt with the sleeves rolled up. He looked younger, less dangerous, almost human. "I made coffee," he said. "You made it? Don't sound so surprised." She followed him to the kitchen. The coffee was perfect. They sat across from each other at the island. Not speaking, just drinking. Finally, Bryan broke the silence. "You can stay here as long as you need. I can't afford this. I'm not asking you to pay." "Then what are you asking?" He set his cup down. "I'm asking you to let me keep you safe." "Why?" "Because I can. That's not a reason. It's the only one I have right now." She studied him, trying to figure out if this was real. "I have rules," she said. "Okay. I'm not sleeping with you. I didn't ask you to. I'm not your girlfriend. I know. And I'm not your, whatever it is women are to men like you." Something dark crossed his face. "I don't have women, Vivian. Everyone has someone. Not me." The way he said it made her believe him. "Okay," she said. "Then I'll stay. For now." "For now," he agreed. Days turned into a week. Vivian didn't go back to work. Bryan told her the hospital had been handled. She didn't ask what that meant. She spent her days in the penthouse, reading, watching the city, trying not to think about how easy it was to get used to this. Bryan came and went. Sometimes he was gone for hours, sometimes days, but he always came back, and when he did, he always checked on her. "You okay?" "Yeah." "You need anything?" "No." "Okay." That was it. No demands. No expectations. Just presence. It was the strangest relationship she'd ever had, if you could even call it that. One night, she found him sitting in the living room, alone, staring at nothing. There was blood on his shirt. Not a lot, but enough. "Are you hurt?" she asked. He looked up, surprised to see her. "No." "Then whose blood is that?" "Someone who made a mistake." She should have been scared, but she wasn't. "Do you want me to leave?" she asked quietly. "No." "Do you want to talk about it?" "No." "Okay." She sat down across from him. They didn't speak, but she stayed. And for the first time in a long time, Bryan Kross didn't feel alone. 2 weeks in, Vivian finally asked the question. "Why me?" They were eating dinner. Takeout. Chinese food from a place Bryan said was the best in the city. He was right. He looked at her across the table. "What do you mean? You're one of the most powerful men in Chicago. You could have anyone. Anything. So why are you wasting your time on me?" He set his fork down. "You think you're a waste of time? I know I am. You're wrong. Then explain it to me." He was quiet for a long time. 6 months ago," he said slowly, "I watched a man try to grab you outside the hospital." Vivian's breath caught. She remembered that night. A drunk guy, stumbling, reaching for her. She'd shoved him off and kept walking. "I was going to kill him," Bryan continued. "Right there. In the street. Why didn't you?" "Because you handled it yourself. You didn't scream. You didn't freeze. You just dealt with it, and then you kept walking. Like it was nothing." He leaned forward. "I've spent my entire life around people who take. People who demand. People who expect the world to bend for them. But you don't ask for anything. You don't expect anything. You just survive." His voice softened, and I wanted to know what that looked like up close. Vivian felt something crack open in her chest. "I'm not special," she whispered. "You're wrong. Bryan, you're the first person in 10 years who hasn't wanted something from me." She stared at him, and for the first time she saw him. Not the Mafia boss. Not the dangerous man. Just Bryan. Lonely. Tired. And trying. "I don't know how to do this," she admitted. "Do what?" "Whatever this is." "Neither do I." They sat in silence. And somehow that was enough. Everything changed 3 days later. Vivian woke up to shouting. She stumbled out of bed and found Bryan in the living room, pacing, phone pressed to his ear. His voice was ice. "Find him. Now." He hung up. "What's wrong?" she asked. He looked at her, and for the first time, she saw fear in his eyes. "Someone knows you're here." Her stomach dropped. "What does that mean?" "It means you're a target." "For what?" "For getting to me." He crossed the room, took her by the shoulders, gentle but firm. "I need you to listen very carefully. There are people who want to hurt me, and the fastest way to do that is to hurt someone I care about. You barely know me. That doesn't matter. Bryan, I'm moving you. Tonight. Somewhere safer." "Where?" I don't know yet, but you can't stay here. This is your fault, she said. It came out harsher than she meant. But it was true. He flinched. I know. Then let me go. No. Why not? Because they already know about you. And if I let you go, they'll find you anyway. And I won't be there to stop them. She wanted to scream. She wanted to cry. But instead, she just nodded. Okay. Okay. I trust you. He stared at her like she'd just said something impossible. You shouldn't. I know. The safe house was in the middle of nowhere. An hour outside the city. Hidden in the woods. No neighbors. No cell service. Just Bryan, Vivian, and 2 armed guards outside. This is temporary, Bryan said as they stepped inside. How temporary? A few days. Maybe a week. And then what? Then I end this. How? He didn't answer. The house was small. 1 bedroom. 1 bathroom. A kitchen that looked like it hadn't been used in years. You take the bed, Bryan said. Where will you sleep? I won't. That's not healthy. I've survived worse. She wanted to argue, but she was too tired. That night, Vivian lay in bed and listened to Bryan moving around the house. Pacing. Checking windows. Making phone calls in a language she didn't understand. At some point, she got up. She found him in the living room. Sitting on the couch. Gun on the table in front of him. Can't sleep, he asked. Can you? No. She sat down beside him. Tell me something true, she said. About what? About you. He looked at her. Why? Because I'm scared. And I don't want to think about it. He was quiet for a long time. Then, I was 8 years old when my father was killed. Shot in front of me. My mother, she didn't last long after that. I was alone by the time I was 10. Vivian's throat tightened. I'm sorry. Don't be. It made me who I am. And who are you? Someone who doesn't let people get close. Because everyone I've ever cared about ends up dead. She reached out, took his hand. He stared at their joined fingers like he didn't understand. I'm still here, she whispered. For now. For now, she agreed. 3 days in the safe house. 3 days of silence. 3 days of waiting. On the 4th day, Vivian couldn't take it anymore. I need to know something, she said. Bryan looked up from his laptop. What? Do you feel anything for me? Or am I just a problem you're trying to solve? He closed the laptop. Stood. Crossed the room. Stopped right in front of her. You want the truth? Yes. I don't know what I feel. I've spent so long not feeling anything that I don't know how to name it anymore. Try. He exhaled slowly. When I'm near you, I'm calm. When you're gone, I can't think straight. When you look at me, I feel like maybe I'm not completely broken. His voice dropped. And that terrifies me. Vivian's heart was pounding. Why? Because caring about someone makes you weak. And in my world, weakness gets you killed. Then why didn't you let me go? Because losing you would kill me faster. The air between them was electric. Bryan, I know this is insane. I know I have no right to keep you here. I know you deserve better than this. What if I don't want better? He stared at her. What? What if I just want you? You don't mean that. Yes, I do. He cupped her face. Gentle. Like she might break. If I kiss you, he whispered, everything changes. I know. You'll be mine. And I don't share. I don't want you to. He kissed her. Soft at first. Then desperate. Like he'd been holding back for months and finally couldn't anymore. When they pulled apart, he rested his forehead against hers. You're mine now, he said. I know. I'll protect you. No matter what. I know. And if anyone tries to take you from me, I'll burn the whole city down. She believed him. It happened at 3 a.m. Vivian woke to the sound of breaking glass. Bryan was already moving. Stay here, he ordered. What's happening? They found us. Gunfire exploded outside. Vivian's heart slammed into her throat. Bryan grabbed his gun. Check the clip. Get in the bathroom. Lock the door. Don't come out until I tell you. Bryan. Now. She ran. The bathroom was small. No windows. She locked the door. Pressed her back against it. And listened. More gunfire. Shouting. A scream. Then silence. She waited. 1 minute. 2. 5. Then a knock. Vivian. It's me. Open the door. She recognized his voice. She opened it. Bryan stood there. Blood on his hands. His shirt torn. But alive. Are you hurt? She asked. No. The guards? Dead. She felt sick. What now? We leave. Now. He grabbed her hand. And they ran. They drove for hours. No destination. Just away. Finally, Bryan pulled over. Middle of nowhere. Side of the road. He got out. Vivian followed. Talk to me, she said. This doesn't end, he said. As long as you're with me, you'll always be a target. Then I'll learn to live with it. You shouldn't have to. But I want to. He turned to her. Why? Because for the first time in my life, I feel like I matter to someone. His expression cracked. You do. More than you know. Then stop trying to push me away. I'm trying to keep you alive. I'd rather die with you than live without you. He pulled her into his arms. Held her so tight she could barely breathe. I love you, he whispered. It was the first time he'd said it. I love you too, she whispered back. They stood there, on the side of an empty road. Two broken people, holding each other. And for the first time in a long time, neither of them felt alone. 3 months later, Vivian stood in a new apartment. Smaller than the penthouse, but safer. Bryan had ended the threat. She didn't ask how. She didn't need to know. He walked in. Suit perfect. Tie loose. You're late, she said. I know. He kissed her. I have something for you. He handed her a small box. Inside was a key. What's this? A house. Outside the city. Your name on the deed. Fully paid. Bryan. You don't have to use it. But it's there. In case you ever want to leave. She looked at him. I'm not going anywhere. I know. But I need you to know you can. She set the box down. Took his face in her hands. I choose you. Every day. Do you understand? He nodded. I choose you too. The end.